Story 1. The Man in Apartment 104. Ella Parker was 27 when she moved into a rundown apartment building in Philadelphia. It was the kind of place where the rent was suspiciously low, but the neighbors never made noise. Her new home was Unit 106, down a dimly lit hallway with stained carpet and flickering overhead lights. Across the hall sat apartment 104. From the moment she arrived, it gave her a bad feeling. The peephole was taped over. The door handle was discolored with rust, not grime. And there was a coldness about it, like the air around that door had gone still. When she signed her lease, the landlord, a gruff man named Runhanded, over the keys with a strange look in his eye. No welcome, no friendliness, just one line before he walked away. Don't mess with the neighbors. Especially not 104. Ella assumed it was just a warning about a cranky tenant. But after a few days of silence from that unit, she began to wonder if anyone actually lived there at all. The first night passed without issue, but at exactly 3:04 in the morning, Ella woke up. No noise, no nightmare, just sudden, alert wakefulness. Then she heard it. 3 slow knocks, not at her front door. From the wall that separated her bedroom from apartment 104. She pressed her ear to it, holding her breath, and thought just for a second she heard a whisper. Be with faint and slurred, but unmistakable. You shouldn't be here. The next morning, she ran into an older woman, walking her dog in the hallway. The woman paused when Ella mentioned she lived in 106. She didn't smile, didn't offer a polite welcome. Instead, she muttered, "Don't listen to the walls, they lie." Then she walked off without another word. That night, the knocking returned 3 knocks, again at exactly 3:04 a.m. louder. This time, Ella sat upright in bed, frozen, her eyes locked on the wall, her body filled with dread she couldn't explain. The next day, she called Ron to ask again about apartment 104. He paused for a moment, then said flatly that apartment's been sealed for years. When she pressed further, he simply said, "You don't need to worry about it," and hung up the phone. Refusing to let it go, she called the police. 2 officers arrived that night. She explained what she'd heard, and they agreed to check the unit across the hall. They pried open the door to apartment 104, and what they found inside didn't make sense. The entire space was coated in dust. The windows were blacked out with duct tape. The back closet door wouldn't open. When one officer forced it, they discovered it had been sealed with bricks from the inside. Not boarded up, bricked, as if someone had entombed something. That night, Ella couldn't sleep. She set her phone to record audio and left it on her nightstand, facing the wall. When she listened the next morning, the first few hours were silent. Then, just after 3 a.m., the knocking started again. 3 hard, deliberate taps, and then a whisper, clearer this time. This was my home, before the walls. Better. That was enough. She began packing her things in a panic. As she bent down to grab her suitcase from under the bed, her hand stopped, just inches away. she saw Hidgrey, decaying fingers curling out from the shadows. A hand, twisted, unmoving, reaching toward her ankle. She bolted, left the apartment without her things. The next day she came back with 2 friends and a hammer. She was done with waiting. She ripped open the drywall. In her closet, the same wall that touched 104. Behind it they found bones, folded into a tight space behind the wall. The body was wearing a red hoodie. Ella recognized it. It was the same hoodie she'd seen on the missing persons board in the lobby. The police confirmed it was the man who had lived in 104 6 years earlier. He was reported missing. No one had ever found his body. Until now. Ella moved out for good. But sometimes her phone still receives voicemails from unknown numbers. Always between 3 o'clock and 4 a.m. Always the same. Just heavy breathing. Then, at the N3 Slow Knocks, apartment 104 remains empty. And if you ever find yourself walking past it, keep moving. Don't stop. Don't listen to the walls. And whatever you do, don't look back. Glory to the camp in Deadman's Forest. There's a forest in Oregon that's mostly forgotten. It doesn't show up on most modern maps. The few locals who remember it call it Deadman's Forest. The name isn't a joke. Dozens of hikers have vanished there over the past 50 years. No bodies, no gear, not even a shoe. Just silence. Some people say the forest has a rule. It doesn't let you leave unless it wants to. Sarah, Jake, Mia, and Andre were 4 college friends who lived for danger. They ran a blog where they investigated local legend. So when they heard about Deadman's Forest, it felt like the perfect spot. They found it through an old topo map, ignored the closed trail signs, and hiked in about 6 miles. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. No animals, no wind, just dead trees and heavy air. They found a clearing. As the sun set perfectly circular, with a fire pit in the center made of stone. Jake said it looked like a ritual site. Mia agreed and started digging through the ash with a stick. That's when she found it a rusted compass. The needle spun constantly, never stopping. Jake pocketed it with a grin. That night, they told ghost stories and laughed over marshmallows. At around 1 a.m., they turned it. In the morning, Jake was gone. His sleeping bag lay zipped and empty. His boots stood upright beside it. There were no footprints leading away. No signs of a struggle. Just a ring of disturbed soil around the fire pit, as if someone had been pacing in circles. They searched for hours, screaming his name. But no matter which direction they went, they always returned to the clearing. The spinning compass offered no help. That night, Andre disappeared. Mia and Sarah woke to the sound of tearing fabric. Andre's sleeping bag was shredded, and long claw marks scarred the trees nearby. They ran blind in the dark for what felt like miles. But when the sun rose, they were back at the fire pit. Sarah found a notebook tucked into a hollow tree. The name inside was Daniel Reed, with the last entry dated 1983. His final line read, "The forest won't let you go until it has 4. Mia went pale. They had entered as a group of 4. Now only 2 remained. That night, Sarah stayed up while Mia tried to sleep. But by dawn, Sarah was gone too. Her boots were left neatly by the tent, standing upright. Mia sat in the center of the clearing, surrounded by ash. She burned the journal, she burned the compass. Ben. Then she walked east, eyes shut, whispering apology. This time, the forest let her go. A trotter found her stumbling down a dirt road. Hours later, she was dehydrated, shivering and completely silent. 4 weeks, she didn't speak a word. She never went camping again. But sometimes, when she dreams, she sees the forest, she sees the fire pit, and she hears a voice behind the trees whispering, "You were supposed to stay." Story 3. The Midnight Game. Logan Morris wasn't afraid of much. He was 17, sharp and cynical. He ran a YouTube channel where he tested scary internet rituals. Most of them were hoaxes, things like Bloody Mary or the elevator game. But when he heard about something called the Midnight Game, it intrigued him. The rules were more specific. The risks sounded serious. It felt different. According to legend, the Midnight Game was a punishment ritual used on those who broke spiritual laws. You perform it alone at exactly midnight. You need a candle, a piece of paper with your full name, a drop of your own blood, and a wooden door. You knock 22 times on the door, timing the last knock to land at 12 a.m. sharp. Then you open the door, blow out the candle, and close it again. That's when the game begins. For the next 3.5 hours, you walk. Never stop moving. Keep your candle lit. If it goes out, you have 10 seconds to relight it. If you fail, draw a salt circle around yourself and stay inside until the game ends at 3:33 a.m. Logan followed the rules exactly. He filmed the whole thing. At first, it was boring, but at 12:17, the candle went out. His hands shook as he lit it again with his last match. He barely made it. Then, just past 12:30, he saw something. A figure at the end of the hall, two-toed, its arms dragged, its head tilted. There was no face, just a black void. Logan sprinted into the bathroom and drew a circle of salt around himself. For the next 2 hours, he didn't move. But he heard it breathing, slow, heavy, just behind him. He didn't turn around. At 3:33, it stopped. The next day, Logan reviewed his footage. The thing was there. Not a hallucination. Not a trick of light. Real. He deleted his channel, moved out of his house. But the game never stopped. Every night at midnight, a candle lights itself beside his bed. Now, he plays the game every night because he never closed it properly. And if he ever messes up, if the candle stays out too long, it will finally win. If these stories gave you chills, make sure to hit that like button. It helps more people find this video, and maybe even share their own experiences in the comments. Have a story you think we should tell? Drop it below. I read every one. And if you enjoy getting scared, subscribe and turn on notifications. I post new horror every week, just like this.